Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the Mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is Rift Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Welcome, everybody. This is the sensitive, offensive content disclaimer for the Rift Nation Network. Please note that this podcast may contain material that some listeners find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violent, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health trauma or other sensitive issues. Explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or our hosts may use some strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping and seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please contact a qualified expert. Hello. Marcy's on the top again. Welcome, guys. So hopefully we can see everything that's going on. Let me shut this music off so you can hear us. I like the background music sometimes. So, and as always, welcome to Beacon in the Dark. And I'm Susan. And up above today we have
Marcy.
So tonight, there's no topic. And sometimes my guides will say, no topic. Just go with the flow. If somebody needs help, literally let them come in, let them ask, let them figure it out. But before I forget, guys, don't forget to follow the Rift Nation Network. If you are on YouTube, hit subscribe and hit the bell notification so you'll get notified every time the Rift Nation Network goes live. And also you can follow us on YouTube and Twitch. I think Twitter is coming soon. I know that one will be coming soon. I got to get in contact with Joni for that one. And as always, stay tuned through the whole show. After the show, check out the sponsors that actually help the Rift Nation Network, and give them a call as well. So before the show, Marcy and I was sitting here, and good evening, Ed, and good evening, Nikki. So before the show, Marcy and I were discussing, a couple things we got going on here and there, and we do that sometimes, and it's like, wow, there is one topic, and we don't have to stick to this, but with me, what I've been doing is conquering a fear slowly. Slowly. So, how many of you guys, or Marcy as well, have this inner fear that you have to work through, or something that you have worked through? Now, I myself have lived through so many fears in my life. I have lived through like the loss of a mother, the loss of a child. There's a lot of things that I have gotten through in my life, but here's the goofy kicker. I'm afraid of the dentist. Yeah, I know. And I have such a tough time. Literally. You ever seen a grown woman? Marcy, picture this now. I'm in the chair. I got the bib on, right? And they're coming at me with the needle. I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm out of here. I get up and I'm out that door. So for me normal to sit there and even have the fillings, it's like, wow, I did it. So same, works through the fear, tons of fears. Yeah, it's fears are a tough one. So anybody, before we get into the show, before I forget, I will not be on Beacon in the Dark. I mean, not Beacon in the Dark, but Bag of Nuts on Tuesday again. I do have oral surgery. So they're going to knock me out. I don't know how my mouth is going to react. So I'm going to be taking one more Tuesday off. Last Tuesday, I couldn't speak because my mouth was like that. So, yeah. So what about fears? What about you? Now, I've conquered many fears. Well, this is the last one.
I've had fears where I was termed with dysthymia, where in between people were controlling my life. My sister was trustee. My dad wasn't. I was always staying at home. Then my boss, I get these odds of what would happen. It's like my boss and her family ended up becoming homeless. And at that point, we worked at Kmart, but it wasn't Kmart. We worked at the shoes. The shoes were separate. So it was only my boss and I. So I ended up letting my boss and her boyfriend and her kids live with us twice. And that's where I ended up starting with my gambling, because I got the illusion of I'm out of control. And between my sister bullying me, right now we're dealing with my house. I haven't paid the HOA because the name is in my sister's name. And so I talked to a bankruptcy lawyer, and I told her my story about my sister. I've had nervous breakdowns. I've had it where I've been homeless. I've had it where abortions, being evicted. And it's almost like recentering. And that's when my guides are like, let go. I spent my money, at the casino. But then when I took a bath, because I had to let go all that, that's where I find out all my releases, where this jaguar spirit came to me. And then also Big Giant Eagle came. So as I'm releasing more and more of these things, right. And then eventually I don't know if you guys, there's dragons there in another realm. So I saw a black dragon coming out.
Right.
The eagle was, ironically, once I was letting go of all that, then I saw the eagle building a nest.
And that represents what?
Well, I think it's refoundation.
Okay.
Rebuilding or death and rebirth, if you want to look at that. And
like Eros.
Yeah, so once we let go, then all these visions or feelings or whatever it is that's coming through, then I was seeing these golden eggs. And in the golden eggs was other eagles. And so it's almost like rebuilding. And I was talking to my friend Raven, who's also a really good psychic empath. I started doing radio shows with her years ago, when we've been ever since. And it's funny because she goes, are you going on a cruise? I'm like, no, I don't see a cruise, But then the Atlantis I was talking to Susan about this. sent a pamphlet saying, "Oh, you built up enough points." I'm like, maybe I'm supposed to go on this cruise.
Maybe.
I'll go on there. She goes, "I see you doing tarot readings," you know.
That's good.
So it's a lot of, once we let go, once we get in that center energy, that
Mm-hmm.
fear, and again, we got to get onto the right side of the brain. The fear is anxiety, the left side of the brain. Susan was talking about
Right.
anxiety. I go, the anxiety is fear of the future.
Right.
Depression is the past. So we got to get out of the the fear of the future because it
Sometimes
doesn't
the
need it.
depression is the present,
Well, yeah,
not
because
the
it's the
future, but the
trigger.
present, like missing my mom, things like that. They do come up. But Nikki made a good point. Now, she said she posted this before and I didn't see it. It didn't pop up for some reason. So evidently, ET abductees have actually a common fear of dentists. Now, Nikki knows I have been abducted as a teenager. A long story, but yeah, I am an ET abductee, and I never really connected the two. I always thought it was a different reason, but that actually makes sense. So if there's any other abductees out there that have had the same issue with the fear of the dentist, I'd love to hear from you as well. I'm also doing another experiment here. I looked up crystals ahead of time. As you guys know, I love my crystals. So, and it said one to get help you alleviate a fear is fire quartz. So as I'm talking about this, and acknowledging the fear, I'm holding this, trying to work through it. So maybe this will help me work through the final avenue because I've started. I've gotten 3 fillings so far. So, I mean, I'm doing pretty good. I got the oral surgeon coming up. I do have a couple of root canals, but I've had root canals before. But, you know, it's think of it like, and again, I don't know if your guides will talk about anything like this on this subject, but if somebody has been abducted and they've worked through certain fears, like the dentist, and then all of a sudden it kicks right back in again, is that a possibility? Possibly we were maybe like reabducted. It's like, you know, when I tell people how I went through menopause, I said, guys, the aliens took all my eggs. That's how I went through menopause. They're just gone. They're not there anymore. They just like, there 1 minute, boom, gone the next. That's it.
And that's kind of like what I was one time. It's like my teeth were hurting. I mean, I have my 2 front teeth that have. It's like every time I was stressing out,
Right.
they would go up and chip away. Even one was a fake tooth that cracked.
Right.
You know, and all of our teeth are connected to meridians. But years ago, I had a toothache because it has to do with communications or energy or whatever is going on. And I was with a friend and we were with our kids, and I just sat all day at the beach and I worked on my tooth, and I didn't have a problem after that.
Right.
It was like a lot of that because I just got done with my sister who needs Prozac, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that was triggering my tooth from going from my sister's house to my friend's house, which is about like 3 hours away in the Bay
Right.
Area. But I just sat there and there were all these energies, emotions, feelings that needed to be released in that tooth. And I've never had pain in that tooth. It may have chipped away,
Right.
but you know, all these different things. I don't have teeth problem. I have, you know, as far as pain. And so a lot of it is the blocking or the meridians or
Right.
past lives or stuff we're not allowed to express, because my whole thing I wasn't allowed to express growing up.
Right.
And so it triggered different things that were happening.
I mean, I myself have certain like dental issues. We're getting into dental issues here, but oh, she needs CBD, not Prozac. That's from Gail. Oh man, that's funny. I love that.
This was
Yeah.
before they had the CDB.
Oh yeah.
You know, this was like, I don't know, 15 years ago. But she's
Yeah.
always been anxiety. And
Yeah.
I've had fear with her too. I've had post-traumatic where
Yeah. PTSD.
one time, you know, I put a stain on her couch. She came up and said, I owe her $1,000. I tried to grab the kids, which
Yeah.
was back to with my father. She came up and said, you owe $1,000 for the couch. I'm trying to get the kids. She wouldn't let me leave, or she wouldn't let the kids leave. And so I sat outside and waited for her boyfriend to come,
Right.
you know. but it's just this weird neurosis that she's had, that
Exactly.
the triggering that I've had to work through, all that that fear of fight or flight,
Right.
energy that goes on.
See, I don't know. With me, I've always had an issue with control, but I've also had some other issues in my past that some of them I don't bring up online. It's not appropriate. So there are like certain things. It's like I have to know what's going on at all times. So it's like a lot of times, yeah, that's like I can't deal with not knowing what's happening. But this lady that I found, she's literally let me have my headphones. My man is allowed to sit there until I go to sleep. So, and okay, that'll help alleviate the fears. Because I've been to an oral surgeon before and I got up and ran out of the chair because my heart's going. It's like I sit there and it's like, yeah. So yeah, it's a really difficult situation. But Nikki again says that dental is usually the number one common fear among adoptees. And Gail, we're talking about two different subjects. We're just talking about anything. Today is like an open topic about what you guys want to discuss. I started off with what's going on with me because I figured rather than try to hide behind my anime character, which I was doing because, ashamed of what's going on, the fear, the swelling, the this, that, you know what? I'm going to take you guys on my journey with me. So that's what I've been doing. But Gail says for real, she says the CBD has helped her mentally more than any pharmaceutical drugs. And I believe that. I believe natural remedies are the best. I really do.
Well, and the thing that's funny, Susan, is like I had another friend of mine. I had to let her go.
Right.
Because I was going to go on another radio show. And she's like, oh, you can't because of your teeth. And she's, and it's like I talk to other people and they're like, we have no problem with it.
No.
But, because when I wrote my book, she was like very anal on the whole editing thing. And I got to hear that for a long time. I'm going, I don't want to hear this.
Right.
As far as the expression or the teeth. And I thought about getting false teeth. First of all, it's really expensive. Second of all, your teeth are connected to your meridians. And it's like, if people are going to accept you, they're going to accept you for what you are.
For me, health. I don't want to risk having health issues because I get floating toothaches. So with me, it's all a health thing. So that's why I decided to do it. But this particular show, and that's a really good point, Gail. It's an awesome point. She says that is an ego issue for them. Exactly. This show, Beacon in the Dark, is not about ego. It's about us helping you. We're real people. We have real issues. And that took me a while to figure this out about why we're here, why we're doing this, and do this and do that. And sometimes it's just good to have somebody say, hey, I was there too. Oh my God, I understand that. Right. We have real problems, real issues, real people.
And that's why I don't have my two front teeth, because if people are going to accept me for who and what I am.
Right.
And it's a real thing. And being your authentic self. Yeah. It's like these people spend so much money. And my sister is perfect for that. We call her like my friend that was a therapist that I used to do readings on. Yeah. She called her Hot Tub Dari because, she had 3 houses and spiritual. And I'm like, she thought of herself and competing with me on my spirituality, but she had to be center of attention. Both of my sisters had to be. And it's almost like growing up, I had to be an amoeba, because if I got any attention, then they would slam me because they were into their... I love the line with Brene Brown says, is there's people that are into perfection. And that's something where they're into judgment, shame, guilt.
Yeah.
My daughter's like that. And then there's and you and I are more into excellence. We're into striving into what we're going on.
Exactly. I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm doing a podcast. The podcast is all over the place, but you know what? I don't wear makeup. I'm not going to sit and say, oh my God, I got to dot this. That's not me. Because it's not about what I look like. It's about the energy. It's about the love and the spirit that both you and I put out there to help people. And that's what I love.
People.
Hello, Renee. And Gail loves the collaboration of talking about things. And that's what it is. And I think, thank you. That's what my guides were trying to say to me. No topic, just go with the flow. Right. It's because that's exactly what she said is what they were trying to tell me. A collaboration of talking about things. It's like no subject is taboo over here. And thank you, Renee, for sharing out. There is no subject that's taboo. You're going through divorce, you want to talk about it, fine. If you have been abducted, we're here for you. You have issues where you need to get through, we're here for you. You have anxiety, we're here for you. It doesn't matter what the topic is. We are here. We're here either through knowledge or toning or channeling or our energy. We are purely here to let you guys know that you're not alone. Like at one time we felt. Marcy felt alone at one time. I felt alone at one time. We don't want that for you guys. We want you to know that we want you to
empower yourselves and take back the power.
Yes.
When I lived in a homeless shelter, I had my friend Marilyn that I did readings for when I was doing readings, and we became really good friends. And she had her kids, and she's like, I don't want to tell people I'm homeless. I'm like, I'm going to tell people I'm homeless because that will alleviate. It's like, if you like me for what I am, that's fine. You want to hide who and what you are, that's up to you. Mm-hmm. But you're going to find the fake people. So I'd rather, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. You like me, that's fine. If not, then I'm not going to waste my time and my energy on our friendship.
Exactly. And that's what it is. It's a collaboration of exactly. And that's what it is. And that's what I should list it as. I like the open forum. I like that we can go from fears to abduction
it's
to
all connected.
CBD. It's just a perfect balance of everything. So if you guys have a topic, you want to talk about it, go right ahead. If not, we're just going to keep going with all this. And by the way, I'm calming down.
Oh, with the stone.
Thinking about the dentist.
Oh, good.
I'm calming down. So for me, crystals work. Yeah, that it really
you'll
works.
You'll know that the crystal is right for you because it warms up in your hand.
Yeah, it's warm.
And I've got this big wand that my friend is a shaman.
Yeah.
And it's got a ball in one, it's got on the other. And it was like, I was at a psychic fair and I spent a whole bunch of money. I couldn't let go of it. And it was like, she goes, I wasn't.
Oh, that's the one you got a while ago.
What?
Was that the one that you got back before when we were doing the chakra
big
shows?
black one?
Yes, the chakra shows.
Right now I have it underneath my bed because for some reason it's supposed to be for the grounding. I've got some above me. And so they're like, don't move it, you know. But my friend that's a shaman is like, dog, I was going to get that one, you know. And it's like, that one. Your hand won't let go of it. It's like I was over at the Aura place and I was hearing the buzzing of that one crystal.
Yeah.
That it's like, I guess it was singing to me.
Yes.
You know, they'll connect because crystals have vibrations. Stones have vibrations.
Yes.
And they will match. And there's times we outgrow things. And then my guides will go, give Crystal the crystal. I'm like, I don't want to give Crystal the crystal. But it's like, and they'll keep on my brain until I give what I'm supposed to give to a person.
Yes.
You know.
And I will do that. I'll see somebody and I'm wearing something and I find out about a certain condition and I'm going, oh my God, this works for that. Off it goes into them because that's where it's supposed to go. Gail Buss, she says, oh my Lord, I have felt alone. Not anymore. I am enough for myself.
Good.
I hope to help others get to this place. Awesome. And that's what Beacon in the Dark was built for, because a lot of us have felt alone in the dark within ourselves, that we have to understand we are enough. We're not going to all have perfect teeth, perfect figures, perfect anything, you know. We're not. It doesn't work that way. And if we all look the same, I'm telling you, we'd get lost and shuffle. It would be boring.
And you would know variety. Those people have so many diseases because they hold everything in.
Yeah.
And so the outer world, eventually your body's going to break down on all that.
Oh, yeah. Eventually
That
it
goes on.
does. So exactly. Very good job, Gail. You have to love and like who you are. You really
Authentic.
do. Michelle says, I agree. So,
Well,
yeah.
our personality is horizontal, and I think our authentic self is vertical. And so a lot of times I will get visions of these black crosses releasing out of these personalities, or these
Right.
being out of alignments and these energies. And that's why now I was playing with somebody at the casino. We were both losing and I had to come home. But then the jaguar came and the eagle came. And I'm like, I'm letting all this go.
Right.
And then I was going to go, play with the idea, asking my son, and my guides are like, no. So I went home, took another nap and just let it all go. And
Right.
today's just kind of like my quiet day. The TV was off. I went to work at 6:30 till 10. And then I'm like, it's my recentering day today. It's time for a tone. I feel like people need to release stuff.
Me.
Oh, they want me to
Oh, I'm burping already, girl. I'm burping already. You get your thing.
This is that one crystal that was coming to me.
Oh, that's a quartz, huh? Or
yeah,
spirit
that's
quartz?
A quartz. And I had money at that point. I'm like, okay, just let it go buy it. And it's vibrating. I don't know if you guys could feel it or not.
It looks like a quartz with a spirit quartz. It's hard to see, but maybe a little milk quartz in there too. That's a really nice quartz crystal. Nice.
Well, that's what I was saying. It was like buzzing the same day I got my aura, and they said, he goes, your channel is open. And that's why I have that. Wait, let me do the aura picture so you guys get an understanding of it, because then
all right, she's got to get the aura picture. I'll say, Gail, again, very nice point. Why would we want to look like someone else? She says God or source made me and you perfect. And that's exactly it. We're all unique. It makes me buzz, Renee says. Your crystal makes her buzz.
Oh, good. Well, just wait till I do the tones. So this is like an aura picture, so you guys get an understanding of it.
Yep.
And what's really neat about it is they now have it on a wristband and they've got a screen. And so it was going blue as I was talking. I was talking about with contacting my daughter. We decided on the green one because it's got orange and gold.
Yeah, it does. I can see it over in.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm pointing and it's not working. So.
But that way you guys get an idea of energies and auras and how your body does eliminate the energy that goes on.
Yeah, it does.
All right. We're going to hit it with this.
And I'm going to hold my crystal that's supposed to help with my fear. There we go.
I'm pointing it. I was doing tones with my friend Revenge. He goes, "You're sounding robotic."
I like that. It was buzzing in the headphones, and that kind of went up and around. Normally it'll go up or it'll go down. This one went from my ears up, and it started to work its way around full circle.
Oh, good. Yeah, we were talking about, when I was talking with them, we were talking about waves and energies, and that's where that whole yin and yang is. You got to build up that fear and then let it go crashing.
Right.
And just acknowledge it. It's like, okay, I'm feeling this. And then once we do that, then it's gone. It's the whole thing. I'm fine. This is all happening. That's where people hold it in and they get the diseases.
She was talking about, Michelle, when we're talking about aura, there's actually 7 layers of your aura. What she had done is called an aura photography. What it does is at that time, it shows a lot of what your aura colors are. And mine was a very, very bright yellow. Sometimes it was red. It was depending on what was happening at that time, because certain times, certain colors of our auras will actually be more predominant than others. And that's what will actually show through on the photography.
I've had a purple one. I had a yellow one where it was at a psychic place, and it was like this 22-year-old with a child. I was in a good mood. I was going to take my aura, and she kept on interrupting me.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, I've been doing readings as long as you've been born.
Yeah.
And I was trying to talk to the owner. Can you get her to shut up? And she's like, I can't do that. And eventually that place closed down.
Right.
But it was like that yellow was the intellect, you know, it was changing my energy because I was in a clear state and she was interfering with my energy.
Yes.
You know, and it was just like, that's what happened.
It does. It really does. And that's why I always tell you guys positivity. Stay away from negativity. Stay away from negative people because they're not worth it. They're going to change your energy because they're in your energy field is what it is. So, but yeah. And Michelle says, right. It changes at times. Correct. Yeah, it does.
Well, it does because we're all bubbles. And
I feel better. I feel
good.
calmer. So I guess I'm bringing this with me.
You bring that with you. And
wow.
It's just a matter of I love the statement that's saying anytime you have an interaction with somebody, you're having a contract to exchange that energy.
Right.
So if you get angry, then you're exchanging that energy. But if you're not going to let them affect you, then they don't like it because they want to dump on you and they want to release it on you. But if you don't let them, they get mad.
My question is, and again, I know how it is to me, but I want to see if you guys actually fear that is true. It's because I'm an empath. I think energy of others would affect me a little bit deeper than it would other people as well. Only because we're absorbing their emotions. So we have to learn to deal with that, to get that going on. Let's see what's going on in the chat room here for a minute. So Mr. Robert White says we're always in the state of flux. Very correct. Yes, we are. Nikki says our chakra system is really big, from our hands to our feet to our legs, many levels above our head. About 7 that I know of right now. Fascinating stuff. Chakra system actually affects a human body in incredible ways. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Hi, kid.
All right, I gotta do a low one.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, I hope you guys are all feeling this. Well, I don't got my head to spin. Breathe. Open your mouth and let it out. There you go. I'm
feeling better.
Well, and that's where once we release those energies, or those fears, or those post-traumatic, or those inner childs, or we don't know where these are coming from. We just have to acknowledge whether they're post-traumatic, inner child,
right,
past lives. We don't know what it is, but once it surfaces, then it dissipates.
Wow, I'm telling you, this is huge. It'd probably be too big for a necklace, but I'm ready to carry this with me everywhere.
Get a medicine pouch.
Yeah, I don't think I have one right now. Using it like a remote control, point and click. That's what Robin says. Because the crystal, point and click. Here you go. So, but, here I go again. I have been burping since I started talking about this.
That's good.
So, yeah, I know. As you can
bubble
see,
energy that's going
my
on.
smile is like more brighter than what it was in the beginning because I was seriously feeling the anxiety of what's coming up.
Well, you're releasing that carbon energy of fear, shame, guilt.
Right.
And then we turn that carbon energy to diamond crystal energy. And then that's when the oxygen helps where our body starts healing more. If we
Yep.
have that dead weight, then our body has a hard time healing.
Exactly.
And it's like, that's what I was telling Susan. I got tested for my hypothyroidism. I don't
Yeah.
have it anymore.
Right.
She still wants me to take the pills. Part of me is like, why? But, you know, but again, all that, I've been losing weight. I've been conquering those fears. And then, like they said, the hypothyroidism is betrayal. And those were a pattern of people, my sister, my family, my friends,
Right.
all these people, layer upon layer upon layer, you know, where the body is diseased,
Right.
you know.
I think maybe what I'm being told to tell you is wait until after you finish dealing with what's happening right now. Like, because you were filing for the bankruptcy type thing, wait for all of that to settle before you decide what to do with the thyroid, because that's always there as a backup to help you.
Well, the thyroid, I
Yeah.
talked to the bankruptcy lawyer, and
Yeah.
my son wanted to come in on that. We're going to do a 5-year plan because even she said the way that my sister has treated me, it
Right.
just makes people. So at least we're getting it under control, you know, as far as what's going on. So it's back payments and then regular payments for it.
Right.
But at least, you know, we're dealing with it,
Right.
you know.
Now, there's two different types of thyroid issues. I guess Michelle has one too.
Hyper and hypo.
Right. So either
I'm
you're
hypo.
overactive or underactive.
Right. Mine was underactive. That's why I was
Underactive.
looking at betrayal,
Right.
you know, and that's where it's like, and it's funny, all these people that I gotten rid of out of my life,
Right.
where now my body's like, okay, you're alone. And it's kind of funny where now it, and that's what happens.
Right.
A lot of times we'll break our arm because your body will say it's time to heal. But you can't say, I'm feeling tired.
Exactly.
So your body will like create something to like go heal whatever it is that, you know, society will let us do.
Exactly. Let's see. Michelle says she's hypo. She
Right,
says
that's
she
what I
feels
am.
better when she doesn't take her thyroid meds. But they're telling me to tell you to wait until that balances. Then you can start. Maybe they're saying every other, skip it, look up alternate ways and stuff like that. Gail says an empath can also have physical signs. Yes.
Right.
Today I woke up to blood in my urine and a lot of phlegm. No symptoms of kidney stones or UTI or a cold. It was my dad. My mom called me after lunch. Dad was in the hospital with a UTI and pneumonia. Yes.
Right.
Yes. That has happened to me. 100% true, girl. I totally understand and I feel that.
Well, and what
It's tough
people
being
do,
an empath.
well, and also it's like I remember like my ex-boyfriend, he got mugged.
Right.
And you like you were talking about that, I was gonna tell you that story. And so
Right.
He couldn't eat, you know. But while he was in it was like a lot of times people will put claws on us, you know, they'll hook onto us to
Right.
help ground us or whatever it is going on. And so we don't know when these people's fears, they use us to like help ground or
Exactly.
whatever's going on.
Exactly.
And then we get sick or we get nauseous or we get whatever it is, feeling the other people's energies that are going on if we're really connected to them, especially if we're the same telepathic layer or their family or whatever it is going on.
Right.
There's a lot coming out of you or coming out of somebody. I got to hit another note.
Yeah, you're doing the Stevie Wonder thing again.
I know.
I call it Marcy's Stevie Wonder thing. She goes like this as she's talking. I'm saying, yep, there they come.
But I was talking to Raven's in England, and we were on the phone, and I go, we're coining the whole Stevie Wonder thing, you know, because I was working on her energy.
Yep.
And they initiated her, which is really neat, because once you get into a new level or a new thing, it's like I go, Raven, they're putting a white rose, you know,
Right.
crown on you. And I go, you're going an initiation on the new level, because that's what they do. They say, we test you. If you pass the test, then we give you opportunities.
Right.
You know, and so these levels of she goes, yeah, I've been feeling the Great White Brotherhood, you know, as far as I go, yeah, they're around you. I said, you might start having them.
Right.
So, because I've been working with her for years.
Right.
And so the levels of, it's like whatever her stuck in it, because I was healing her stuck energy is now moving forward. I got to do the tones because they're really buzzing me. All right, back to the crystal. Whoa! That was for you, Susan. That was letting go something.
Yeah, a couple of teeth.
Hey, it's all energy. Oh, shoot.
I'm sorry. At least I'm laughing about it.
Well, and that's where the healing is.
Yeah.
We got to change that. We either go from fear or we ascend, we ascend with love, or we descend with fear. And so once we get past that fear, then we're into love. And remember, the fear we contract our energy, the love we expand.
Exactly.
And so when we get diseases, our body's like, I'm like this. And so once we release it, then we're like, okay, I'm letting whatever's going on. Bring it on.
I'm feeling a little lighter. I keep picking this up if I feel something coming and it's working, and that's good. Robert says if you feel diseases with certain people, then they might be the type to avoid, because they could end up giving you the disease. And that does happen to some empaths. It really does.
Well, you talked about rotten fruit. If you put a fruit next to a rotten fruit, and that's why we have to stay away from those negative people.
Exactly.
Because that's where we exchange that energy.
Yeah.
And so it's like we put the wall, we'll get nauseous, we'll get stomach aches. I mean, there's people I walk away from, whether it's rude or not, I don't care. Because I'm not going to interact with that energy.
You're doing it when we as individuals walk away from someone, we're not doing it for them. We're doing it for us, for our own individuality. We're doing it to alleviate whatever it is that's happening. We're not blaming anybody. We're just choosing ourselves. And that's what a lot of people need to understand. We're choosing us. Like when I walked away from a situation, I chose me.
Right. Yeah. And that's where we start getting better, because our energy gets really strongly. Yeah. And like when my daughter was writing to me, it's like, well, how are you being responsible? And and it's like, coffee? What do you mean? So she doesn't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's her reality. That's her journey.
Unfortunately, I do have to say we all have that one kid that thinks that their opinion is always right. Mine was, mine was bad, but we all have one.
Well, no, it's just people in general. They're called the right fighters. Yeah. It's like, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? So no matter what you do, they're going to rationalize.
Right.
They're going to cognitive dissonance everything. So they do not want to be accountable. And they work so hard at it. And the more you try to talk to them, the more they're going to turn it around. Boy, somebody's releasing something out of that one, because I could feel like this energy. But once people know, and I saw this diagram where they say they had a picture of dots, and that's like information. But then they have and you'll love this, Susan, because this is so you. But then they have the dots connected, and that's knowledge. So if you have those pieces together, you're like, okay, I have an aha moment. But if you have all of them separate, you're not putting it together. So once you figure it all out, it's like, oh, okay. Now
I have those brain thoughts and, oh my God, why didn't you do this a long time ago thing? So it's like, hello, wake up. I'm awake now.
What are you going to do about it?
All go through that. But you know what? They are lessons. That's what it is. There were lessons we still needed to learn. So and then we learned them, and we're okay now, and now we can go forward.
Well, once we learn the lessons, we work through it, because we're going to get different people mirroring stuff we haven't finished yet. Or I feel like we have certain sounds, like if you're a C note and there's a negative person in their C note, and you haven't worked through that C note, you're going to attract that energy. Right. So if you work through it to an F, you're like, you're not in my world anymore.
I can put it in algebra terms. Sometimes two negatives do not create a positive.
Right. but we have to work through the negatives that are going on. I got to hit a low note. I don't know. People are feeling and releasing, but it's just,
I know I'm feeling better, guys.
and that's what's great, because it's nice. I mean, I had my own radio show by myself, and it was like the knowledge wasn't, it ran out. So when there's exchange with other people,
Yes.
both acknowledging and saying, okay,
Yes.
these people, I can understand where they're coming from. There's confirmation.
Exactly.
And so they're like, oh, like Susan's always talking about my tones or whatever is going on.
Yes.
It's like,
because
how
your
do you
tones
know?
are
It's
very
like,
healing to me. And Gail absolutely feels the tones.
oh, good.
Yes, absolutely. I feel them all the time. I actually wear headphones just so I can get them in here.
Right.
I'm hoarding them.
When you go on my YouTube and you put the headphones on,
yes,
then it goes internally inside the body that happens. I got to hit the note, because I feel like this is releasing out of people as we're acknowledging and releasing and empowering, whatever is going on. I'm seeing and hearing a whale, because whales are like very healing, and
that at the end, the volume in that bumped way up and then went back down. It's like, all right,
how interesting.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was. I did hear a whale though.
You
but see, I find the ocean very soothing. I always have. So I heard a whale.
Is the planet Sirius, which is where cats are from, whales are from, dolphins are from.
Right.
That's where the Ascended Masters have gone. That's where they told me in the automatic ride. That's where I'm from, where I had a golden energy, but it was all scattered.
Right.
And that was when I was like 29. That's at Channel Painting when I was in Spokane. That's what I'm here for, and that's why they've kept my daughter out. They said she'll be in the way. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is what Susan's supposed to do, know. And the more power and the more collective energy, then the more power of the earth, the collective.
Exactly. And for what we learned, I think it was last week. I think it was last week. The earth energy, the connection is absolutely like the zero chakra. The oh my God, I'm having a bloody brain fart. So the earth chakra, the earth star chakra, that's the one.
Right.
Got to activate that, get barefoot and feel that energy and bring it up through all the rest of the chakras. Yeah.
Well, and the pyramids are to do with Sirius. That the Inca Indians are to do with the Sirius.
Yeah.
All that teachings
that
were thousands and thousands of years ago that was going on. And the religion is like these bishops got together, and they have a History Channel, the band from the Bible, where these bishops got together and decided to write the Bible, where a lot of it doesn't make sense because they took different pieces of different things and they admit to get control of the people.
Oh, wow. This is what Gail says. Gail says she's on her phone. She says, if I turn it sideways and hold it on my throat, she says she gets a side-to-side effect that feels great when listening to the tones. Awesome. Oh, that's really good to know. Thank you.
Well, and also there will be times where, because the frequency is so high, people won't hear it.
Right.
But it's because it's so high, your body hears it. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's not there.
Exactly.
It's just we're all dials. And
yeah,
so
like dogs, they hear at a higher frequency than we do. They can hear sounds we can't.
Who?
Dogs.
Dogs. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Dogs
and a lot of animals do, and a lot of birds do. And the vibrations and the energy, and that's why they'll come up to us and they'll smell the fear. When I read Medicine Woman, which started my whole journey, if you ever want to get those Lynn Andrews books, and I met her personally in one of her classes, but when I was doing the au pair work, the mother, when I had the deja vus and sent there, I started reading The Medicine Woman, and they had where she had to go up into Manitoba, Canada, and stand still and see if the dogs or the wolves would smell her fear. And if they didn't smell her fear, she could make the path, you know.
I
That
just
was
heard a
going on.
sound coming from your side, and you were
Okay.
talking in the middle of it. And like, I don't tone, I don't do any of that, but the sound that I heard was, oh.
Well, you remember, and I told this to Susan right before we got on, because we'll talk for like 10 or 15 minutes. We'll catch
Right.
up. We'll exchange whatever's going on. And my guys are like, we're going to teach her to channel, meaning Susan. Today's Friday. I went to work today at 6:30 till 10. Bye.
Oh, Gail heard it too.
What?
That sound. Whoa.
Yeah. So you guys are starting to be
Yeah.
so audient. That's what I was trying to talk to you about. One of the subjects where we don't hear things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not there.
Exactly.
And our range of hearing and sight is so limited. And so as I will hear sounds, or I'll get headaches, or I'll walk into places I'm like, I can't go in there, as to what's going on. And then, or they'll have the stressed, high-pitched sound. I forgot, I was watching Ghost Whisper or something like that, where it's like almost a repelling sound that our body hears it. Right. And then we don't even know, but it's like, I don't know why I don't like this person, But
yeah, I've actually gotten that too. I have gotten that too. I mean, I remember when I was younger, walking into a crystal store loaded with crystals.
Right.
I used to get a massive headache right off the bat. Now I go in there and it's like, party time. Let's sit and play.
Well, I worked on somebody one time, and then somebody else was in the room, and the person that was in the room was getting a headache. And it's like, that's not your frequency. So you will get different things. On my YouTube channel, I'll have high, medium, and low, because some people, you like the high, sometimes the low, sometimes the medium. And it'll be that frequency, but you might grow that energy or that frequency and get into some higher ones, or you get nauseous as your body is healing or releasing the sounds.
Okay, let's see. I have something in my home that uses my voice and calls people's names. I've never heard it. All right, hold on. It doesn't to me, but randomly happens when my husband or others is spending the night. So I guess Ginger hears random voices and people sometimes. And and a lot of times, especially like back east, you guys have a lot of history. You guys have wars. You guys have a lot of, we were talking about that in your old house. Right.
As to the spirits and the energies that are going on. And sometimes spirits don't like certain people, or they don't want certain things, or they're stuck, whatever.
Or sometimes they see certain individuals as a beacon of light. So because you're a beacon of light, they automatically assume that you're on their frequency, that you can communicate with them, say that they have maybe unfinished business or something they need to relay, or a loved one, or even just a perfect stranger. They see healers or light workers as a bright yellow light.
Well, James Van Praagh, I started reading his books years ago, and saw him a couple of times, as far as what was going on. But he started Ghost Whisperer, and he started, what's the one about I See Dead People? His mom was actually a medium.
I can't remember that name. I know that movie.
I know. But he started those, and I guess Jennifer Love Hewitt, or they took it over, as far as producers, which kind of like, he goes, as long as people know about the light, whatever is the energy that goes on.
Right.
But the energy, it's like my first contact audio was, I guess I was sent over, because I wonder, my best friend and I went to San Francisco. My great aunt had died.
Right.
And I was in the bedroom with my friend. And then I went in the bathroom. I was like, this is your Aunt Nita. And I'm like, this is my imagination. When I went back in the bedroom, it didn't have, but when I back in the bedroom. And so for a while, she was one of the people that was contacting me.
Right.
And they said our ancestors, they work with us. My grandfather, I did an automatic writing, never met him. He says I was meant to be a psychic, and so they will give our messages or they will show things. When people die, I will say, I see a white rose on a grave, and that's what the people do. So they will do something personally.
That name. I don't remember that name. It starts with an S, but my Viking ancestors, I guess it would, in Indian terms, you would call them the shaman, the one that they went to for everything. Right. This was the seer. Right. There's another name for it, and I'm having a brain fart at the moment. That was like the Viking side. So that one I do have working with me. And then I have the Celtic side that comes in every now and then, because I did have Native Americans. Now my ancestors are starting to come in and push.
Because you're clearing the way as to what's been going on.
Exactly.
As you get clearer and clearer, they're able to contact you more.
Yeah.
As far as what's going on. I remember I was at a wedding and I'm all ostracized from my family, but I ended up for the family.
Vulva. Thank you.
What?
It's called a vulva.
Okay.
One of my ancestors. That's the one that comes through vulva.
I did a tarot reading for my mom because her stepmother, my grandmother, died. Well, I was with a friend of mine that was psychic, and the toaster caught on fire. And
right.
My friend goes, "Oh, your grandmother wanted a toaster," But I mean, these different messages. All my friends that are all psychic, we get that interaction that goes on. Right. But I did a reading for my mother about my step grandmother. She's like, "Well, how did you know that?"
Yeah.
But those messages they bring us together, and that's why you're probably going to start channeling more. You're going to get visions more, because that's what they said, Susan.
So Ginger Lockwood has Viking ancestors too. That's awesome. So I think I'm related to, I guess they call this Danes, not Vikings originally. But I'm actually one of the Icelanders.
Okay.
So yeah, I am. So I don't know what Ginger Lockwood is also. Hello, school! My Vikings to stop. That's pretty awesome. These are things, the Celtic side, I've always known I was a Celtic, but I didn't know I was Scottish.
Well,
you trace your ancestry, and I am evidently, I didn't even know I was Scottish. So.
Well, I've got a big Celtic flag because my mom's side is Scottish.
Yeah.
And I named my kids the McLeans, because my last name people can't pronounce, and the whole thing on that. But I was at a psychic fair, and Venus, who does a lot of the Egyptian stuff, she goes, "I see Viking in you." So I was picturing myself like one of those big fur, things. But she gave me an ankh, which I have hanging above my bed with a cross and a crystal, and so my dreams or whatever it is are going through.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of warrior dreams preparing. And I think that's why I started it's like for some reason I need all of this done. Right. I feel like I'm on a time limit and I can't figure that out. So I stopped questioning it. But Gail says her first contact was when she was around 3 or 4. I hear you there. I would see my grandmother's dead sister who was burned coming to me. And I had a big bear, my dad, who passed away when my mom was still pregnant with me. The little white wolf cub was my sister who passed. Oh, yeah, that happens. It really does. I had a friend, when I was younger, her name was Jen, something. I'm having a brain fart at the moment because I got people talking to me. But she was, my God, people, what? She was, I'm starting to stutter, and it's 8 o'clock already. I'm starting to stutter. But
I'll spend the time, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like she would come in and she would tell me things, and then I would tell other people things. But I got really mad at her one day because I told her to stop playing with the Barbie doll car, and she wouldn't. So I took the batteries out, and she kept playing with it, and it was going in a circle and a circle and a circle. My mother came in, saw it go in a circle, and I said, Mom, I took the batteries out, but she won't leave it alone. And that's when I first told my mother about Jennifer. I'm having a brain fart. But when she first came in, there were no batteries in the car. My mother got scared. So I took it at the time that my mother was afraid of me. So I was always careful what I said around my mother. So I used to say more around my grandmother. Oh my God, I can't believe it's 8:00 already.
Hey, you
believe this?
Like, does everybody feel better? Does everybody feel more normal? Does everybody feel more authentic? I do. It's getting back our power.
Yes, and I think that's what
support system.
Yeah, I think when we first started the Beacon in the Dark, I was like, okay, I had a direction. And then it was like we started, and now it's like, I understand. I get it. It's, and now it's finally hitting in the right direction.
Well, how many people are watching and listening through the week? You said 660.
Yeah.
One time 330.
Yeah.
So it's making people feel.
Yeah. We hit close to 800 people, even if they're watching the replay. I like that because they know that they're not alone.
They're in a safe environment. They can do it when they want to do it. When you force things on people will come up to you and say, I want you to do a tarot reading for this person. I'm like, no, they're not ready. And you can feel the resistance. And it's like a lot of times, you can't force somebody something that they're not ready for, or they have to go at their own pace.
I'd like everybody to meet my son, Crazy Org, my oldest, and he's saying cookies for the poor. He actually lives in the same building I do upstairs from me. So I guess he wants his mom to make him cookies. He says cookies for the poor. He's a character. He's always doing something like that. I had an awesome time tonight, guys. I really did.
And I can feel the energy releasing.
I feel so much better now. I really do than what I started, because I was telling them upstairs, I'm already having anxiety over this. And it's like, I look this up, we sit down, we do the show, we talk. And I think that's what it is. It's nice to know we're not alone, and others have been through some of the situations they've been through. So, Marcy, do you have any final words for our people?
Just be in power, be at peace.
Yes.
Well, that's what I was getting the words of. One last tone to release whatever the last energy is.
Yes.
Breathe, Susan.
Yes, but it's so peaceful. Do I have to open my eyes?
Like they say that the grapes go into wine. The cold
grapes. That's what I got to get at the grocery store.
Grapes?
Yeah, I ran out.
Oh. Okay.
Hey, that's your phone. All right, guys. Literally, I won't see you Tuesday because, like I said, I do have the oral surgery. Once I get through that, I just have like 3 or 4 more things to do, and I'm good. So, and then I will feel better because I will be healthier, and I think that's what it's about.
And Susan, just release whatever fears, trauma, post-traumatic, past lives. I'm releasing all these held in energies in my teeth, and then let that go, and then that's where your body will get the more oxygen and heal it.
I feel like Stevie Wonder now. All right, guys. Yeah, I know. Peace out. I will see you here again next Friday for Beacon in the Dark. And don't forget to check out the Rift Nation Network. It is definitely the place to be, because you never know what's going to come out of any of the host mouths. And we have a good time here on Beacon in the Dark. So definitely share it out. Get some more.
Yeah, we're very much guided. They have their minds of their own
to help. And that's what I like. We have a really good combination going on here. So it's the Susie Marcy team or the Marcy Susie team, whichever way you want to call it.
It's like truth and authenticity. Your body knows it.
Yes.
It's like you know when something's true, your body feels calmer.
Yes.
So you guys feel our calming energy instead of like this whole fight or flight, or I've got to be protective energy that's going on.
Or I got to run out of the dentist chair. I don't feel like that right now.
Good. Allow the experience. Get your visions.
Peace, guys. Peace. See you next week.